The first great inconsistency in Savannah's storyline is that her supposed dominance is repeatedly undercut by the edit. Think back to 2 episodes ago. The narrative presented Savannah as the mastermind who successfully orchestrated the blind side of Kenji. But if you rewind and watch that entire sequence without the dramatic voiceover, what do you see? You see Rizo delivering the critical vote-flipping information. You see Sophie being given the deciding choice in her confessional. Savannah gets the glory shot, the arrogant, one-line summary of the move, but the operational high-value content goes to her supporting cast. This is textbook editing for a strategic runner-up. The person who receives the credit is often not the person who is validated by the edit. Notice the camera work in the following scene. Savannah is walking along the beach, giving a Goliath confessional about how everyone is afraid of her strategic positioning. Yet, immediately following that, we cut directly to a camp scene where Rizo and Sophie are discussing how they are going to manage Savannah, calling her a necessary shield, a blunt instrument they can control. The flow is critical. Savannah's self-assessment is immediately juxtaposed with Rizo and Sophie's accurate assessment of her as a disposable asset. This is the show giving the audience a clear signal. The true power players are the ones having the conversation about the threat, not the threat herself. We are being shown that she is not steering the ship. She is merely the figurehead designed to take the initial cannon fire. This pattern of inconsistent actions and narrative misdirection is too persistent to be accidental. It's the first vital sign that we are watching a narrative edit of strategic suicide by Alliance leadership. Her strategy of being the front of the Alliance has resulted in brilliant gameplay, yes, but suicidal social standing, which the edit is meticulously showcasing for the jury's benefit. Now, let's break down the final boss edit point by point, because this is where the editing room has been doing its heaviest lifting, and this is where the suicide mission becomes clear. 1. The jury reaction shot dossier. Go back to the tribal council where Jawan was voted out. Notice the wide shot, specifically Jawan's face, as Savannah delivers her closing remarks on his character. It's not a face of respect for a good game move, it's pure, visceral rejection. The edit chooses to linger on these faces. This is critical. A winner, especially one who plays a dominant, ruthless game like a Tony or a Boston Rob, is always given. Balancing jury content, a nod of respect, a slight smile, a glimmer of grudging admiration. Savannah gets none of that. She gets visible contempt. The producers are signaling the jury's verdict before the final tribal council even happens. Look at the screenshot. The focus isn't on Savannah celebrating. It's on the collective, negative body language of the jurors. 2. The inconvenient savior edit. Let's talk about her 2 big saves. On 2 separate occasions, Savannah was dangerously close to being blindsided, only to be saved by a last-minute decision by Rizo to keep her as a bigger shield. Crucially, the confessional content surrounding those saves came predominantly from Rizo, explaining why he needed her. Savannah's subsequent confessionals simply reaffirm her own perceived strategic control, failing to acknowledge how close she came to the chopping block, or, more importantly, who saved her. The music choice here is not accidental. When Rizo makes the save, the music is suspenseful but resolves positively. When Savannah speaks about it, the score swells into a loud, almost abrasive, villain theme. It's a classic cinematic technique. Give the antagonist a booming theme, but only show them being saved by the protagonist's careful planning. 3. The blunt and biting audition tape. The phrase blunt and biting has been used by multiple players in confessionals about Savannah. The editing team has given us a supercut of these moments. This isn't just about showing her strategy. It's about showing her social deficit. A dominant winner can be ruthless, but they must be able to soften the blow for the jury. Savannah is shown repeatedly prioritizing the win of the moment over the relationship she needs later. We see confessionals where she admits she's being unnecessarily aggressive, but frames it as a superior strategy. We are never shown her mending fences. This is the show constructing a case for why the jury will not vote for her. 4. The fire-making foreshadowing. This is the long-tail theory that brings it all home. Savannah is constantly built up as the final, absolute threat that must be defeated. This perfectly sets the stage for a Final 4 fire-making challenge scenario. Picture the scene. Rizo, having been shown as the strategic, quiet force, or Sophie, having completed her arc of waking up and seizing control, realized that Savannah is too much of a threat to let sit at Final Tribal. They must eliminate her themselves. The edit is giving Savannah a huge, insurmountable strategic profile now so that her eventual defeat in the fire-making challenge becomes the most satisfying and resume-defining moment of the season for the person who wins it. The narrative requires this impossible obstacle. Savannah's current status as untouchable is simply a dramatic device to make her final, painful removal that much more meaningful for the eventual victor. We are being set up for the ultimate dramatic takedown, where the winner proves their resume by slaying the Goliath at the challenge that matters most. So what does this systematic deconstruction of the edit imply for the final episodes of Survivor 49? It means you need to stop watching Savannah as the central character. The edition itself is the main character, and it is telling us a story about a shield, not a sovereign. The editing team has meticulously created the ultimate tragic foil. The arrogance, the inconsistent actions, the negative jury shots, and the constant saving by her supposed subordinates, it all points to a single conclusion. Savannah's game is a masterpiece in the eyes of the edit only because it must serve as the grand obstacle. She will reach the final four, perhaps even the final three, but her narrative payoff is not the $1 million. Her payoff is a spectacular dramatic elimination, one that validates the quieter, more socially attuned game of the person who finally takes her out. Whether it's Rizo's strategic long game or Sophie's awakening, the winner's story will be incomplete until they can point to the moment they eliminated the season's supposed Goliath. Savannah is not the winner. She is the final boss. The real question is, who has the narrative weight to deliver the final blow? The current trajectory suggests we should be focusing less on Savannah's moves and more on how Rizo and Sophie are positioning themselves to take the shot.